executive director for the New England RV Dealers Association, and I'm going to drop that off, and I'm going to bring my co-host up here, and he's going to hey, there you go, John. How you doing?
Hey, Bob. It's so nice to be with you tonight. It's the first time I can look out the windows, and it's daylight.
It's daylight late at night, even if there is 20 inches of snow on the ground. Although I got to be honest with you, I think 10 inches disappeared today. Hey,
the thing I don't like seeing is looking out and just barely being able to see my neighbor's deck through the snow.
Yeah.
But
hey, before we get too far in, I'm not going to bring them up physically. They're sitting in the lobby. See, this is a talk show. So this is like Jay Leno or the evening people. They're in the green room. They're
having coffee.
They're having coffee in the green room, having some water, and they can't even see us. So they just have to sit there until we bring them up on the screen. But our guests tonight are Mark and Don Polk from RV Education 101. And we're going to bring them on after we get done with the local news. And right out the gate, Andy Park, nice to see you here tonight. And Michelle and Laurie are there. So Andy's, I know, is going to rib us. I'm sure he's down in Florida. Probably could care less than the fact that we had 3 nor'easters.
Wonder what bus Andy has. Andy, tell us what bus you have, if you have, in fact, the bus with you at all. You have that flexible flyer? Oh, there we go.
Hi, you guys. How's it going? Hello?
Hello.
I can't hear Bob.
Can you hear me, Dawn?
I can hear you, John.
Oh,
okay. I'm back. Okay, so all of us are there. So there's Mark and Don Polk. We're going to bring it back on in a little while, but I wanted you to be able to say hello because we just introduced you, and I told them that you were hiding out there in the green room and didn't have any exposure to us and couldn't hear us at all. So yes, John.
Bob, we have comments here already from Andy Park, and we should introduce Andy. Tell us who he is.
Andy is the Gadget Guru, thegadgetguru.com, well-known TV personality. He was on. I grew up watching Andy. The problem is,
I'm sure he's going to like that you grew up watching Andy on the Today Show.
I was a late bloomer watching Andy, but I think Andy's a little bit younger than I am. So
probably not much. But, the thing that Andy wrote in his comments, I said, are you with the flexible flyer? And he said, a flexible flyer is a sled. A flexible Starliner is a bus. So, Andy, we might presume that you're on the bus. Is that right?
No, he says he's home, at home tonight. Well, I don't know which home is home,
At home tonight, a flexible flyer.
Look at him. Past the suntan lotion. Mark and Don, have you guys met Andy yet?
No, we haven't, Bob.
You
got to meet this guy, and he does have tremendous videos. He just posted one a couple of weeks ago. If you wanted to see what it's like to drive a flexible bus, he's got this beautiful, I'm going to say 57,
59 or so, something like that.
Oh, wow. Where can you see that at?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
He's also got a Prevost conversion, but he hooked up a bunch of cameras inside the bus and showed you how he drove it with the manual steering and everything. So we'll get Andy on here one night. 1957. I was right. See?
Yeah, I wasn't born yet.
Wanted to let you and John know that we've got our motorhome sitting out in the driveway, getting ready to take a trip. It was about 65 degrees today.
Sunny, beautiful.
Hey, Bob, I think we should just scrap our regular guests and just talk about the weather up here because he's already made an incendiary comment about being 60 degrees out.
Right. We can certainly do that.
The only 60 we're looking at is 60 inches of snow over the last 3 days.
It's unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
I mean, this time last night it was insane, but we survived.
Well, it was, we got about 20 inches. You might have got a little bit more out there, but there was 3 storms in 11 days. So,
with more scheduled.
I think we've had enough. Yeah.
I think so. Supposed to be spring here. Spring's arriving.
Yeah. So I really want to get into the meat of the night because, this is the first time that we've had guests on, and it's the first time we've tried this format. So if we screw up a little bit tonight, please forgive us. But
I'm just going to blame the director.
Yeah. On local housekeeping, we don't really have a whole lot. There's the extended open house at Lee's Family Trailer Sales in Windham, Maine continues this weekend. And John, you going back up?
They are the nicest people up there in the great state of Maine. And when I walked in there at 9 o'clock a couple Saturday mornings ago, I felt like I was part of the family. And I watched people come in and be greeted by the friendly staff in the store. And they had hot dogs, they had coffee, they had bagels and Danish and that type of thing. But we did an interview with one of the couples that was up there, and they came a few months ago. They were so enthralled with the atmosphere that Dan and his crew have created up there. They never even went to another dealership. That's how much they liked it. And I think that's true of so many of our member dealers here in New England that we're very honored and what's the word I'm trying to say? We're lucky that most of them are family-owned businesses, and they do give you that little bit of extra.
Yep. They also were one of the first dealers that picked up a case of the RV book from.
Absolutely.
It was right on the counter.
Right on the counter. I showed it to Teresa, and Dan looked at her and said, "Get a case."
Yep.
Wow, that's
awesome.
They got it proudly displayed on the counter. We also have an open house at Vermont Country Campers in East Montpelier, Vermont, this weekend. There is only one show. It's a very kind of a unique show. Now, we have the New Hampshire show next weekend, and I believe Hemlock Hill is doing an open house next weekend. And then we'll have the Maine Campground Owners Association show in 3 weeks. That's the April.
Yep. With their new venue.
Yeah, but interesting enough, I just saw a video the other night. I'm going to post it tomorrow. Scott's Recreation in Manchester and Turner, Maine, has rented out the entire Augusta Civic Center this weekend, and they're calling it the Augusta RV Show. Now, it's not related to the Maine Campground Owners Show, gets a lot of credit for being creative, but it is, and basically it is a Scott's Recreation show, and it will only be products that Scott's Recreation is showing. They did this last year down in Portland. They do it for themselves, for their own dealership, but it's a unique idea, and they can call it anything they want. We give A-pluses for creativity in this business.
Yep. You know, the amazing thing, Bob, is that venue looks so much like the Boston venue. It's amazing how the copy of that building.
The video that they used to promote it was the background video was from our Boston show. So I'll give him a B- on that. But it's creative, But just be forewarned, if you're going up to Maine, I'm sure the Augusta Civic Center does not look anything like the Boston Convention and Exposition Center.
It is a nice building. It is a nice. We've visited that when we were RVing up in Maine a few years ago. It's a nice place. And Laturco says, watching you guys make snow a mute subject.
Yeah, who's saying that?
Laturco, your buddy.
Oh, my buddy's saying it. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm gonna do some displacements here. I'm going to drop John down.
I've been a displaced person before.
I'm gonna drop
Hi, John.
And I'm going to drop Mark down for a little while, and I'm going to bring up the RV book. So I'll drop, let's see here. How do we do this? Okay, we get John out of there. We bring up the RV book, and then we drop Mark out of there, and I'm going to ask Don. There you go. How's that, Don? I'm seeing me, you, and the RV book. And we talked about it with Lee's Travel, and we also had Forest Marine and RVs pick it up, and I understand that you got another order this week from a New England dealer.
Yes, I did. They're just calling and ordering it, and we're really happy to have them on board and passing out the information to their customers.
Did anybody besides Seacoast RVs? I know Seacoast RVs called in. Did you get anybody else yet besides Seacoast this week?
Yeah, Linda, how you say her last name?
Melhut.
Yep, they ordered. Amanda called me up and got a case, and So that was good.
Okay. Want to talk a little bit about the book and why it's important? Well, now that we have so many first-time buyers coming in and dealerships are seeing a lot of people who want to know about the RV lifestyle, what are they going to learn with this book?
Mark put a lot of information from setting up at the campground, winterizing, how to buy, just a little bit of everything is in this book. There's about 300 pages to it, so there's a lot of information for the new RVer. Okay,
that sounds good. And I understand that the dealers that have them are selling them very quickly. So if if you don't see them at your RV dealership, then ask for it. So it's called the RV book, and you can see it on their website. So I'm going to bring that back down now. I'm going to bring Mark up. Boop, boop, boop. There you are, Mark. You're coming back up. And John's coming back up. So, oh, that's the wrong one. Well, it's funny. I look at a picture and I put the wrong. There we go. We got that one.
And John,
thanks for letting me back in the show.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be the co-host, and I've checked here. We've been on for 11 minutes. I've been on for 4. You've been on for 11. So that's really not fair because I'm the one who did all the work in promoting this event and taking all the credit.
Why don't you read some comments and say hello to our guests?
Well, I'm going to do that. But you know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we introduce our guests? Because we've been talking all about them, but we haven't really formally introduced them as the brains behind RV Education 101, which is certainly one of America's leading RV education platforms. And as they have progressed in this business, they've been in it since the turn of last century. They started with cassettes and DVDs, and now, Mark, why don't you tell us about your online programs that you're offering for people all over the place that they don't necessarily need to bring a DVD player with them or play it in the side of their computer. Tell us about the online offerings that you're
all right. Yeah, John, we have tried to stay up with technology. With the pace is really fast. Of course, we're still selling some DVDs. It's doing quite well, actually. I think it's the age group that is into the RV lifestyle. But we wanted to make sure that we were keeping pace with technology, so we have developed an online RV training program. And what we did was we took every title that we have, we updated the material, everything's current, and then we put it into these courses. So we took each individual chapter and we put it in a course, so you get to watch the video, and then there's written text. And then we have crossword puzzles, and we have quizzes. We tried to make it as entertaining as possible. The good thing is you can sit at home on your sofa, and you can learn about your RV. So it's instantaneous. You don't have to order anything, wait for anything to arrive in the mail. You just enroll in the course and get started immediately.
And Mark, it's so true that sitting on your sofa and RVing are two, certainly one of the favorite pastimes. So many times you see the activities in a lot of the, whether it's FMCA or Good Sam or Escapees, they show the action pictures are people sitting around a campfire. So the only action is the campfire.
Yeah.
But you know what? People like to RV because they want to relax, and it means different things to different people. But I know one of the things that we wanted to talk about, because you have so many videos on YouTube. What is the YouTube address that they're under? What are they under? RV Education 101?
RV Education 101 is a primary YouTube channel, and then we have RV 101. It's a secondary channel. We've got probably in the neighborhood of 360 videos that were produced in-house, and each one of them has some educational value to the viewer. We just went over 10 million views about a week and a half ago on the RV Education 101 channel.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So if you're such an expert, then we're going to put you to the test right now, because Somebody had just written in just a few moments ago saying that my RV is stuck under 10, 11 inches of snow down at Cape Cod. But there are people that may have branches that have fallen. I went to Cape Cod today, and nationally, that was one of the worst hit places in that storm yesterday. And there's a lot of branches down. There's wires down. Mark, if someone is concerned that they've got too much snow on the roof of their RV, tell us some precautionary issues to be aware of.
Well,
because a lot of people might say, oh, I'm just going to climb the ladder, get a shovel, and start shoveling. Probably the worst idea that they could ever have, right?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, it's not safe to be on an RV roof when there's 10 or 11 inches of snow and probably ice under the snow. So I would advise strongly that you don't attempt to go on the roof. Hopefully the RV has a cover, but that's not always the case either. So the snow could be, sitting right directly on the roof, and that could, eventually lead to some water damage or whatever. So it is kind of vital that you try to get the snow off. And what I would recommend is taking a step ladder that's tall enough to where you can go up the ladder, take a broom, and just try to push the snow off the sides and just work your way around the RV, get as much off as you can get off. Hopefully their slide outs are in, because the snow can do a lot of damage to the slide out toppers if the slide out's out. So,
right. And especially if you had it out and there's ice that formed in it, it could burn the motors out when you attempt to put it back in. But you said something a moment ago that I thought was very important, but people might not be aware of it. There might be fluffy snow on top, but at that lower level could be snow from a previous storm or ice, because the way this past storm hit, it was slushy snow first, and then the fluffy stuff came. So you might think that it's all fluffy. You get up on top, and then you're gone. You're down. And I think anybody would say, if anybody's ever taken a fall off the top of an RV, that's not something that you want to talk about on how I spent my spring vacation.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you attempt to get on top of the roof, you don't know where the air conditioner is. You don't know where the roof vents are. They're covered by snow, so you're gonna trip, fall, and get hurt. So stay off the roof. Try to get the snow off using a ladder, and just do the best you can do.
So say you just have a shovel because it's hardened. Can you use a shovel if you're careful?
No, not. Come on, John. You don't want to use a shovel. I mean, you'll be shoveling off the roof vent. Well, you take a big swipe and you hit the roof vent or the air conditioner, and then next spring you got major problems.
Yeah, well, look at Jerry's comment. Read Jerry's comment there.
Well, you know what? I joke about that because everything I'm asking you are mistakes that I've made.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, before we had this RV, which I pay to keep indoors year round. I think with the amount of money that you spend for an RV, and also, Mark, along the opposite lines, summertime can do damage as well with the hot sun baking your roof, right?
Yeah. You always want to protect the roof. Do whatever you can. Like I say, in the wintertime, hopefully you have a cover on it, because that gives you a layer of material between the frozen ice and snow and the actual roof. Summertime, you just want to keep it clean, keep any small branches, leaves, that kind of thing off the top, and just go up and do routine maintenance. But whenever you're on the roof, you have to exercise caution. I mean, like you said a moment ago, a fall could result in some serious injuries, and it could be worse than that.
Yep. Andy asked a question here for Mark. It said, Mark, what piece of advice would you have to give to those who are thinking of buying their first RV, and how do they know they're getting a quality product? And you know what? That's about a 3-hour answer, but do your best.
Well,
don't chime in here on anything that you want. If Bob will put you back up.
It comes down to research. You need to research the manufacturer. You need to research the dealer that you're thinking about buying from. You can look at how long a manufacturer's been in business. You can look at go on forums and ask owners of that type RV, that brand of RV, specific model, what they like and dislike about it. You'll get a lot of feedback from people, especially people who aren't happy. So the biggest thing is not to get in a rush. Don't make a hasty buying decision. Don't go out to the show and just, fall in love with the RV and buy it that day. And then the next, tomorrow find out that it's too big, too small, too expensive, or whatever the case might be. So it just boils down to research.
And certainly, Mark, I'm sure you'd agree that the right RV for one family may not be the right RV for another family. And the RV for a family with 4 young kids could be totally different than the RV for a retired couple that just has 2 people and an occasional grandchild to take with them.
Yeah, you need to plan on. You need to plan how you plan to use the RV is extremely important. How many people are going to be in the RV? How are you going to drive cross country, or are you going to set it somewhere and use it as a destination unit? So that that right there is a motorhome versus a park model. So there's a lot of considerations, and sometimes people don't think about all that stuff. But if you just take your time, talk to other people, try to figure out how you plan to use it and how many people are going to be in it, and make your decisions based on smart buying decisions.
And sometimes renting an RV is a good choice too, if you can just rent it and try that out.
Dawn, you bring up an excellent point, because we have a couple dealers here in New England that rent, and in many cases there are people that they'll buy the rental unit. I know Sherry Fuller has said many times people come back, not only did they like RVing, but they liked that particular unit, and they played let's make a deal with that unit when they come back. Bob, one of the things that I'm sure that you would want to chime in on is that buying the right RV is very important, but buying it from the right dealership, a local dealership, as opposed to buying it, from a company, several states away, is important. But Bob, why would that be the case?
Well, these things are handmade. They are going to have issues. You want to have a relationship with a local dealer that you know on a first name basis. You get service there all the time. And even though you may be using it to travel outside the territory, when you have a problem and you call them up, they've got the resources and the contacts to make sure that you're taken care of. So we always encourage people to buy from the local dealer. I do want to jump back up on Jerry's comment, finish up on the snow stories. Jerry works with Major's RV, Mark, down on Cape Cod, and probably saw a lot of damaged trailers. But they're a service only dealer with a gigantic parts and accessory store. And Jerry says that they sold a ton of roof repair tape and Dicor products this week. What advice do you have for people who woke up this morning with tree branches? These are not repairs that somebody should try themselves, and searching out for a qualified technician is very important. And I know one of the things that you feel strongly about, you and Don both, with the books and the videotapes, and one of the reasons that I know you do it, and I've been writing about you guys since 1999, is that with the advent of the internet, there's a lot of information out there. So that's what you're addressing in your online streaming courses, in your books, in your videos. And people like Jerry and the service centers that you refer people to, they are the butt of people who come in and say, but I saw this on the internet, so it must be true.
Yeah.
And Jerry, feel in to throw another comment there, but how important is that independent service center, the dealer repair service center, the place that you bought it, and places like Major's RV, which just has a phenomenal shop down there on Cape Cod, and all certified technicians. They do it all. But how important, I know that's a real sore spot with you, and rightfully so.
Yep, you're absolutely right, Bob. What I see on the internet, it scares me. It actually scares me sometimes, because the advice that some of these people are giving is going to get somebody hurt. So what we like to concentrate on is the RV 101 level. We like to teach people what they can do as an owner, preventive maintenance, how you can head off a larger problem if you catch it early. But anytime it comes to work that requires an RV technician or work that requires, major type jobs, we recommend that they take it to the professionals. So we teach the RV 101 stuff. We advise people to watch what they hear and see on the internet, and to take your RV in at regular intervals to have it checked out and repaired by the dealership.
Hey, Mark, we had a question here. We were officially informed by the National Weather Service today that winter has been extended to July 15th.
Just up there.
So this question from Chuck is valid. Campers that are stored outside in winter. I don't mean the camper, meaning the person who owns the camper. I think he means the actual RV itself. Okay, that are stored outside in winter conditions with snow. Should they put the jacks down for the winter or leave them up?
Years ago, I actually talked to HWH about that, and now that's just advice that I got, and this was quite a while ago. They said that it doesn't matter if it's up or down, but you should exercise them at some point. Now, anytime it's along the coast and it's exposed to the salt in the air and that type of thing, my recommendation is to keep them up. But in other areas, if you want to level the unit and leave them down, they didn't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark, you also mentioned, Mark, that when you talk about the little tips about hopefully having, you said it, hopefully they have a cover on it. There's a lot of, again, misinformation on that between, do you put a cover on it? And if you do, then it should be an authorized cover for the vehicle. It should not. It should not be a blue tarp, correct?
No, absolutely not. You're going to have
has to be a breathable fabric.
You're going to have mold and mildew and all kinds of issues if you use the blue tarp from Harbor Freight. So you want to buy a quality cover, and basically what that is that the roof will have a good solid barrier between it and the snow, but then on the sides, it's actually, like Dawn mentioned, it's breathable. So air can circulate through the cover, and that gives it the opportunity to ventilate and keep things dry. When you put the blue tarp over it, it's going to hold that moisture in, and it's going to cause trouble next spring that you wish you didn't have.
Yep, and we got a note there. Get a note there from Justin about dealers starting to only service units purchased at that dealership. Well, I got news for you, Justin. That isn't new. They've been doing it for years, and we've been trying to get them off of that. We understand that there is a technician shortage. We understand dealers are trying to hire technicians. We got some new initiatives at the national level that I'll be working with RVIA on some strategic planning for future technician requirements. It's not unusual, and that again is though my argument for creating a relationship with a dealer for just that reason. When they know that you've bought it there and you get it serviced there and you have a problem, they're going to take care of you. It's appropriate, and it frustrates campers, but many of these people have a 6 or 9 month season. Campers, are out there here in New England from Memorial Day to, Columbus Day.
Yeah.
And they're going to take care of their customers. If they have extra time, they will, but it is not unusual for some dealers to refuse to service a vehicle that was not purchased there.
And that's what I referred to before. If you say, I'm going to save $1,000 and go down to Florida, you may pay the price with that if you don't live in Florida.
Yeah.
Unless you're a handy person and can get underneath and change your own oil and that kind of thing. Hey, Dawn, we were talking before about the covers, and not to belabor a point, but people think that covers are only for the winter time. But many times, if you have a breathable cover, it can protect against UV issues with the sun as well. Would you agree with that?
Yes, and we recommend to cover the tires. We're fortunate that we have an indoor storage facility, but there's so many things that you need to do as far as making sure that it's not parked in tall grass with critters. Make sure that you put the covers on the tires. You can cover the RV if you want, if you have that time. That would be a good thing. Mark, you have some other tips?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, John. One of the most devastating things I see to the exterior of RVs is caused by exposure to the elements. Yep. So sun will naturally dry out and eventually plastic and vinyl and everything will get brittle, and of course the paint's going to fade, everything. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with leaving a cover on it in between trips. I mean, that's good advice.
Make sure you wash it first. Wash the RV.
Yeah, clean the RV, but then as long as you also have to keep up with the battery maintenance and stuff. So even if it's covered, you're going to have to make sure that you're doing all your other routine maintenance.
Yeah. Hey guys, Laura wrote, she bought a quality cover in the front sides of my Cougar fiberglass, wore some of the color off. Now I'm presuming Cougar was the brand of her of her RV. I'm guessing, Mark, you've got to leave a little bit of extra room there. It's not a tightly fit cover, right?
Well, it's really a fine line there, because if you don't pull it pretty tight, then the wind is eventually going to wreak havoc on the cover. Yeah. And like she experienced, what's happening is the wind's blowing and that cover is rubbing against the front of the RV, and eventually it's starting to cause problems with graphics or paint. The only thing I always advise people to make sure they get a cover that's got a good warranty, and maybe if you contact the company that sold that cover, they might have run into this before and have some helpful information that they can provide, or a way to help correct the problem. But it's one of them things, damned if you do and damned if you don't kind of deals.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we got a newbie on there, Danny Richards. He may not be new to us, but he says he's buying his first travel trailer in about 2 weeks, and they're so excited. What products in your mix would you recommend, besides the RV book, which I recommend to everybody, but what other courses, perhaps the online courses that you have now, would you recommend for Danny and others who are looking at their first RV purchase?
Well, depends on the type of RV, but let's say that it's a travel trailer, then what I would recommend is that they do the travel trailer orientation, which is going to cover everything on the camper, how to use it, and what you do when you set up at the campground. And I would also recommend, we've got a short course called RV Essential Items. So the dealer gives you that starter kit, and it's a really nice gesture of the dealer, but it's limited with what's included there. So there are things that you're going to need or want down the road, or the first time you go to the campground. So that course tells you what those items are.
And the orientation course is like when a dealer gives you a class when you purchase the RV, but you just can't remember it. Just think of listening to your favorite song. How many times does it take listening to that song before you can sing along with it? Well, the RV is a little bit like that. So we put that course into video format, and then we test you after each chapter just to make sure that you've learned what we said. You can watch as many times as you want.
That's a good point, Don, because lots of times the dealers are in a rush, especially today. Let's be realistic. The dealers are selling more product than ever.
Yep.
They're trying to deliver them quickly, and I've already started to hear from some of our dealers that the break point for us in New England, the start of the season, really is Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard from several of my dealers now that they honestly feel that they will not be able to deliver all of the new units that they're selling and all of the units that are in for service that customers expect to have back on Memorial Day. So if you need service, get them in there. But to the point of what we call the PDI, the pre-delivery inspection, which Don mentioned, is the RV Orientation 101. It's going to be quick. Bring your phone, bring your video camera, tape it.
You will. Would you agree, guys? All of you there together. There's no way, if you're a first-time RVer, there's no way, even if you're a veteran, there's no way that you're going to be able to grasp all of that information that's being told to you. And it should be at least a 2-hour walkthrough. And when we were up in Lee's last week, they were showing people that were in the midst of their walkthrough, and they said, and that guy was on his 3rd unit from them, but they said, we go through it every time because each time a new motorhome or RV is created, there's new technology in it. So you can't just say, well, I've had one before, so I know it all.
Yeah,
Well,
Well,
John.
and there's just too much information to retain. So, they're so excited, and when they come for the class, they can't really pay attention. They're just excited to get out there and use it, but then they aren't really retaining the information.
No.
We did a lot of research on this several years back, and what we've come up with is that they retain about 20% of the information that was covered during that walkthrough. So
Same as what I did in college. If it was 20%.
That's the whole reason that we started this company. And what we like to say is we want to be there. We're going to be there for the new RVer until they don't need us anymore. So what that means is we've got courses and classes and instruction that we can provide to you along your education process until you become an expert and don't need us.
Mm-hmm. It's about repetition.
Yeah, look at Jerry's comment. Now keep in mind, Jerry's a service center. They don't sell any new products. They don't sell only medicine consignments, but he actually gets requests from people asking him to walk them through the unit with his certified technicians after they've just bought an brand new RV.
Yeah.
And Jerry had another comment on there about how many people come into the store that just don't know anything about RVs and RVing, but they just bought a camper. And I think that's the strength of RV Education 101. That's why we wanted to have them on tonight, is you can never have enough education in this industry and on these products.
Hey, Bob, along those lines, we should tell people that Mark and Dawn don't necessarily represent any one particular manufacturer, but if you have that slide that shows all the different companies that they've been spokespeople for and done evaluations of their products, I think it's very impressive because it runs the gamut from from stem to stern on a motorhome. And although KOA is not a motorhome, they've been spokespeople for KOA and Dometic and Valterra and MaxAir, which is those little air things up in the top. That's a pretty technical term, right, Mark? That air thing up in the top. But
that's why we do the videos.
Right. I mean, Dicor, Jerry mentioned Dicor earlier, the sealants and that type of thing to keep that roof. You know what I mean?
Yeah. With some of these companies, some of the companies you just mentioned, we've done entire series because these companies want to educate the consumer as well. So we'll do an entire series on roof maintenance and roof repair and roof coatings and cleaning and
feature benefit. We teach the feature, the benefit, and then how to do it.
Mm. You know what? Let me just go one thing on covers. Bob, you're the boss here. We're a little bit over already, but we're getting good comments here. But Michelle had written that she spends 4 or 5 months in Arizona, so she gets that heat. But then when she comes to New England, she parks it under a tree, under a pine tree, in a campground area that they. And she had asked about should they be a candidate for a cover. I know what my answer is, and I want to hear what you guys think on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Tree sap, pine sap, and some of the stuff that will ruin a rubber or vinyl roof quicker than anything. The heat is, we talked earlier, the heat can be devastating to rubber and vinyl roofs. So when you're not using it, if you can cover it, or if you have some type of overhead protection, you see those things with the long poles and then the rooftop, anything like that that can get it out of the elements is going to extend the life of your RV.
Yep. And
our RV's out in our driveway right now. It's not at our garage, and we're getting ready for a trip, and it's under all the pine trees. So we go out there every once in a while, we wipe it off and try to get the sap off and get the pine needles off. So that's important just to kind of keep up with it.
In New England, a lot of the campgrounds are very wooded areas, and you see the seasonal units that they just get filthy, and then the dirt starts running down the side.
Yep.
And it just doesn't make them look good. It ages them prematurely, I think is the best terminology.
It's true in a lot of campgrounds, especially those that have seasonals, have a requirement that the customer must wash their vehicle at least once a year. and they can do it themselves, or they can bring in a local vendor to do a power wash. And if they don't do it, they're going to come back one day, and somebody's going to be there power washing their rig, and they will then get a bill for it.
Charge them for it.
I mean, there's certain maintenance things. We are running over. We're going to stretch this to 7:45, so we apologize, but
there's two questions here, two viewer comments that I think are important.
Before you do that, John, anybody that has put a comment on here that we did not get to tonight, we will go back through and answer all of your questions. So check back, because this will be archived on the website.
Yeah.
Hi, Terry.
Oh, hey, folks, if you're watching on Facebook, which is probably the only way you can watch, down in the bottom right, it says like, comment, or share. At least on the mobile units there, right there, it says share. Do us all a favor and share this with somebody that you know that loves RVing, because a lot of the material that we're talking about here, we don't like it to be specific to a certain city or state or geographic area. Even though we're called RVing in New England, we want it to be a universal show. So that would be great if you had the capability to share that. And also, if you like it, Zagami's got a big ego, so he would like that. He would like that as well. And then Mike, Bob, you see, says SAP is a killer. Mike, why do you say that? And Danny, on that Cedar Point thing, my sister did that same thing. She drove all the way from Falmouth, Massachusetts, out to Sandusky, Ohio, to Cedar Point, because they love roller coasters. So, Danny, tell us where you're from. And Mike, talk about your experience with SAP.
Hey, Danny, they got this great new roller coaster. Did you see the post that we did this week on the new roller coaster at Cedar Point? I mean, they must be up to about 15. But I posted on our website this week. If you didn't see it, scroll down and check it out. We had about 50-50. Half the people said they could never make it up the stairs. They didn't want to do it. And the other half that were crazy like me said, sure, we'd go on that ride. So
not me, baby.
If you like roller coasters, that's the place to go.
Like roller coasters. Yeah. Hey, we have a contest. Let's not forget.
Oh, contest.
So you have a contest. We brought you on so you can have. But tell us what you're going to do, Don.
So we're going to give away a course of your choice from our online training program, RVOnlineTraining.com. Is that it, Mark?
Yep.
So the first person to post the year, make, and model of their RV gets to win a copy of this. And I will private message you and ask, tell you how to get a hold of that.
Okay, Dawn, give us some examples of what some of those courses might be.
Yeah,
we have the walkthrough. We have the walkthrough. We have winterizing. We have how to drive your RV. We have how to tow it. For fifth wheels, travel trailers, winterizing.
Andy's quick. See, he didn't fall asleep. He's old, but he didn't fall asleep.
We have a winner?
He stayed awake. Andy's the winner with his 1957 flexible, and now he's bragging.
Andy, you can only win once. He's trying to win twice now.
His 2014 Marathon Prevost.
And I'll give somebody else, if somebody else wants to jump in there, I'll give somebody else. So we'll have two winners tonight. So.
All right. And all right, so we got Jerry with his 1996 Safari Sahara. I remember those.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Bend, Oregon. Matt Perlow was that, and I'll bet, knowing Jerry and knowing the kind of work that they do down at Majors RV Service Center, I'll bet that 96 Safari Sahara is in pristine condition, right, Jerry?
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Bob, what we got to do?
Just one.
When we do this again, we got to do the seventh person. That way, they're the people that are, the prize people like Andy that are just hanging around for the prizes.
I thought Andy had already gone to bed. He gets an A+ for still being up and taking care of this.
All my years in the radio business, we've finally figured out you don't take the first caller because there's people there that are professional redialers, and so you take the seventh caller, that type of thing. In fact, once our station was 96.1. We took the 96th caller to win $1,000.
We should have done 101, 101.
Yeah.
So,
101, we'd be here all
Oh,
night.
that's right. We'll take the 101th person. 101th. We're having too much fun. And all we're drinking, folks, is water.
Yeah.
At least I am. I don't know about Zagami.
speak for yourself. Speak for yourself, to Petro. I don't.
Zagami's not drinking water.
Bob, water isn't caramel colored.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's Andy's website. Check out thegadgetguru.com because he's a tech genius, but he's got some of the best videos out there, and we'll get him on here some night, and he can tell all the stories. Andy, by the way, also many years ago won the RBIA Journalist of the Year award at the Louisville Breakfast Industry Show, which I'm sure you know, Andy, they blew out of the water this year, and we don't have any more Louisville coming. But all right,
I'll contact Karen and Andy and ask which course they want access to, and then I'll give them a coupon to get in.
That's fine. I would love to continue. We could do this for 2 or 3 hours, but in fairness to the people who gave us their first half hour and have stuck with us, I want to thank you all very much.
Thank you so much.
Don and Mark, any last comments for yourselves or RB Education 101?
No, we appreciate you inviting us as your first guest on your show. We've had a good time, and this is really only my second time doing this, so if I looked like I was stupid a couple times, that's why.
Oh, that's why?
We want to thank you,
You don't
everybody.
have to say anything, John.
We want to thank everybody with the kind comments, and we want to tell the dealers that if they want to sign up for our dealer program, we can have the walkthrough given to their customers so they can watch our walkthrough, then come and do the walkthrough with your dealership, and then the customers can ask targeted questions. So that's a really good program that we have.
Actually, that's a good point. And Jerry, when you go into the office tomorrow, I assume you're probably open by now. Why don't you twist Mr. Slater's arm or his lovely wife and have them now you're so big and your store is so big, I want you guys to buy 2 cases of the books. One to put on the service counter because you get a lot of people over there.
One on parts.
And one at the parts and accessory counter. And you simply tell them, Mr. Zagami said we have to buy 2 cases of the books or he's going to come down to Bourne, Mass. And speak to us directly. So if you do that, Jerry, I'd appreciate it.
So Lee's family trailer sales, they bought the book. They bought a case, right?
They got the case, yep.
Yeah.
That was Teresa Dash. You got that. And Forest Marine and RVs have their case. And now Seacoast RVs has their case. So, and it's a great deal for the dealers. So I want to see them on the counters of all the dealers. And primarily for just the reason that you wrote it and just the reason that you're in business is it's quality education. It's factual. And with all of the new customers coming into this marketplace, a lot of these dealers are reporting that 30-40% of their sales are to first-time buyers. We have the young couples, we have the millennials. Let's start them off. Let's start them off the right way with a good education.
Yeah, we don't want them to be overwhelmed. We want them to have fun when they get out there, so they have the training first, and then they can go have the fun.
Yep, keep them in the lifestyle.
So, Bob, we're
close it out.
3 minutes over our 15-minute extension.
Yeah.
Hey, we appreciate it, Bob.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Thank you.
All right, good night, everybody. We'll do it again.
Bobby.
Good night. Happy RV learning.